talking about football, we were a big group of cousins that would meet up every Friday at my grandmother's house. Okay, boys and girls, and we grew up that way for years. And every afternoon, suddenly we would separate. The boys would be like, Yalla shabab, yalla, let's go. And the girls would be like, kida, like al-masakeen, like, okay, now you left us, we were watching movies, we were enjoying what happened. Yalla, 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 let's go and play football. So I told my cousin, you know what? I think we should be with them. Because really, we should be included. It's kind of boring. We don't do much, let's do something. She's like, okay. So we said, you know what? We're going to play with you guys. And they're like, you don't know how to play. We're like, we know how to play. You just think because we're girls, we know how to play. And they were like, okay, if you know how to play, you will be the goalkeeper. So I was the goalkeeper, and my other cousin on the other side, the female cousin, was a goalkeeper, and we didn't know what was coming. We were like, we're included. We belong to this team. And yeah, we're cool as well. And we got hit so much. I feel like it was definitely a plan because they didn't want to play with us next time. So like, let's hit them today with the ball, and then, they'll leave us. But we were so happy. Like I would be, you're doing okay? She's like, yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm like, go for it. So the sense of belonging was what we wanted to feel. And that's how I felt when I watched the football, when I watched Morocco win, that game, when I watched also things happening in the Gulf. I felt, oh my God, I feel it, I feel I'm part of this. I feel I want to be included. The inclusion was there, the acceptance was there, identity, everything was there. And that's the same feeling we wanted to feel when we were at that young age. And that's what happens with kids, yeah? So what happens with children is they start having this character as a young child. They start building it because they want to be included in the family. They learn the behavior. They learn also what's happening in there. And you'll notice with children, they'll be like, this is my family. This is my mom. I go and see my sister, and she's my younger sister, and I tell my niece, this is my little sister. She's like, no, she's my mom. I'm like, but she's my sister. And it's because she identifies with this, that this person belongs to me, and this is what I want to feel. So you guys can imagine, when I was told that the theme was belonging, it was so interesting because this is what us in psychology now are really focusing on. And with my team back home, basically this is one of the most important things that we thought we need to remind people after COVID. This is one of the important things because we're losing basically our feelings, our identity, the sense of belonging, even if you're different. It's okay if you're different, but you still have, that kind of rock that, but I also can identify. And that's something that doesn't happen a lot. With children, with teens, with adults, we need to feel that. And that's the only way we can progress. Now there's positive belonging. Positive belonging is basically self-respect, self-confidence. You're gaining, you're also giving. You feel that you're part of this thing, this amazing thing, because also you're learning from it and you're able to move forward with the ideas. That's a positive feeling of belonging. But there's also the negative one. The negative one, which you're trying to be in this group, nobody's listening to you. You're trying to be in this group, but nobody really cares. You're not included. Anything you say is not that important, and you feel lost. In mental health, it's very important to feel belonged. You know how we see these beautiful big trees outside, and we see how strong they are? Basically, their legs, if we would say, they're in the ground, they're so strong. That is the sense of belonging. And once you're standing proper on your 2 feet and you are able to stand with your head high, that is the feeling that you're included, you're important, and therefore your mental health is okay, and therefore all those lovely things of self-esteem, empowerment, all of those things appear. But when you're shaky and you don't feel that feeling, that's when you don't do okay in life. A lot of people are like, I don't care. I don't have to belong to them. I don't have to be with you guys. I'll do my own thing. And that's when, and we'll talk about it at work as well, that's when you don't succeed, actually. Children are quite amazing. And they teach us a lot of things. Children are the most mindful creatures on earth. They live the moment. So when a child sees another child clap, most likely, after a bit of studying, a bit of, watching, then suddenly they'll be like, yeah, I could do that too. They'll start clapping. The bad thing is when one child cries, and then they all cry. I don't like that one at all. The bad thing is when one child cries on the plane, then all the symphony starts, and you feel like it's never ending, right? But this is how they feel that they belong to this group. Teenagers. We always hear this from teenagers. I was one of them. We were all one of them because we seem to forget that we were. We always used to feel like, oh, I don't want to be with them. They're so boring. I want to be with these. Nobody understands us. Only we understand each other. So they're like a little nation that nobody else understands, right? Only we can do this. Everyone else is boring. And now, continuously, this is what I hear. Boring, boring, boring. But when I go and see what they're doing, I actually think it's very boring. Because they just sit and they're on the phone. How is this not boring? And what I'm telling to do is boring. But something else appears in this age. Belonging is very important as a teenager. And if you're not belonged, sometimes you'll feel that you're an outsider. And you will feel bullied. And this is when we hear about peer pressure and how bad peer pressure can be sometimes, as much as it can be really good. Good influence, bad influence, but it's all about being included. And when you don't feel that inclusion, you really feel alone. And guess what? It grows with you, and it even happens at work. So when you first start work, let's say you're coming from a new country, that basically you're coming and you're starting a new job somewhere. Oh, you're in the same country, but you're starting a new job. You do want to be included, right? And sometimes you do find some people saying, I don't want to be included. I don't want to do anything with anyone. You'll find them alone in the lunchtime. They're sitting with their little sandwich, and they don't want to be included because maybe they're not that social. But you find another person trying their best to be there. Why is that important? Why is it important in the workforce to be as one and to feel that sense of belonging? Because when you're at work and you give your points and it's heard and it's valued and you feel that you're doing a good job, you then succeed. But if you're at work and you're being ignored and everything you say does just not sound right, every point you say sounds like it's old or it's outdated, what do you feel? You feel like you're not okay. Stress hits in, depression hits in, lots of the other mix that we don't like will happen to you. And that's because of work. And you count the hours to leave. Because basically, you don't have the shared sense of purpose. Not everybody is together. Not everybody has that one goal. Some people have other goals. Some people have me and only me goal. Me and only I will shine. Me and I only want to show the boss, oh, look at me. How amazing I am. Where is Fulana? No idea. She saw her an hour ago, but she doesn't want her to be included. So this is not a very good feature to have, in a workplace. And imagine having a place where you basically work in a hospital. I work in the university hospital. I've been on this journey now for 23 years. I have one of the most different mental health clinics in Oman. I started in SQUH. I was the only mental health counselor then. There was a lot of other, there was social workers, there was psychiatrists, but there was nobody as a mental health counselor or psychologist at that time. So I had to prove that I'm not this, I'm this. I had to prove, I'm not admin, by the way. I don't just write reports. I actually diagnose and see people and all of that. I had to prove who I am, but in a slight way and not in an aggressive way. I enjoyed it. I had no problem with that. And also, coming into this, everybody was thinking, oh, look at this new person who's coming. And look at her, she looks like she's so busy. And I was kind of a threat. I didn't understand why I was a threat, by the way. I kept on thinking, let's go to tea. Yeah, I'll come with you. I wanted to be included. Let's go here. I'm like, yeah, I'll come with you. And then they were like, why don't you go and work in the other department? The children's department would be a very good place for you. And I was like, why? They're like, I think you'd like that. I only know years later that they thought I was only there to just look busy and I wasn't working. So they wanted to basically push her away because people are going to notice that others are not working. It's not a good vibe. Basically, after that, I learned so much in SQH, so much. And then I wanted to open the first clinic in Oman of its type. I wanted it to have art therapy, music therapy. I wanted to have a team. I didn't feel the teamwork when I was in SQ. And it was very important for me to feel the team. So basically, I opened the clinic, and then there's challenges, and every time people ask me, what's your challenge? I'll be like, this, that, and the other. And then with years, I learned that the challenge was me. I was the challenge. Do I want to do this or not? It's me. It's a choice. Believe me, you always have a choice. That doesn't mean it'd be good all the time. It might be a bad choice, but you have one. And that's 100%. So you are your own challenge because you're going to choose. As much as there's so many things around you, it's not going to work, but you're going to choose. That's something you really have to remember. So going through this mind map and, okay, I have a goal. I want this clinic to be different. I want people to come and talk about mental health. I want to do poetry night, movie night, all of this stuff for the youth. Alhamdulillah, it worked out. Although a lot of people, people come to your clinic and talk about their problems. I'm like, yeah, we have waiting lists. I mean, that's a good thing, by the way. It's not a bad thing. But people were like, and people just come and talk in front of people about their stories because we have something called Not Alone Stories, where people with issues would basically talk about what they're going through. And then after that, okay, let's do a campaign. Let's call it Not Alone. Another hurdle. Okay, I want my team to be included. I want them to feel that they belong in this place. What can we do? How can we plan it? Constantly thinking what to do, how to do it, and thinking that I want people to be belonged. I want us to have a purpose. I want us to be different because different is nice. Being the norm for me is boring. But different is also very hard because you challenge yourself the whole time. So if you're up here, okay, Basma, you're here. Now you have to be here. Who am I challenging? You're challenging yourself, by the way. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. And it keeps me motivated. This is one of the things that we do. We go all around Oman and we talk about mental health. We have a convoy. And we do something that's got to do with belonging. We go and look at our heritage. So it's basically three things. Mental health, seeing our heritage, and looking at how beautiful our country is so others also can see how it is. And then you feel good. You have to keep on energizing and feeling good about yourself. So that was Not Alone. And then the team that I have are multicultural. And it was very important for me, actually, to have people from everywhere. I wanted to learn from them, and I wanted them also to learn from us. And I wanted them, even though they are not from Oman, to belong in Serenity and to feel at home. And that's very important for people who work with you to feel safe, to feel at home, especially in COVID. When they were not able to go back to see their families, it was very important for us to feel, you know, you guys, we're together. And that's important for us. I even told them in the beginning, every time somebody comes to work in the clinic, I'll be like, do you want to do something to your office? Do you want to decorate it? Do you want to? I saw this when I went to the US. Offices had fairy lights, had chocolates, had stuff in it. And I was like, this is nice. People want to stay longer at work, you know, if it looks beautiful and, you know, tempting. Instead of the hard desk, you know, the hard colors. I worked on all of that in the clinic. And every time people come to the clinic, I tell them, for me, it's important how my employees feel in the clinic, even more than my patients. Because if they're feeling okay, then my patients will be very happy. And if they feel they belong to this place, even if I'm not there, they'll do well because it's theirs. So Serenity is not Basma Al Saeed. Serenity is for everyone. And when they say, your clinic, when my team say your clinic, I tell them, oh, you mean our clinic? I keep on pushing that. I push them to do things because in the end, it's a win-win. It's not just about me. Because in the end, you're in a journey. How boring is this journey if you're walking alone? Extremely boring. You need people with you. You need to laugh a bit, shout a bit, get angry a bit, shout a bit, enjoy. And that's what I wanted, because that's what I didn't have when I worked before. So basically, again, we go to that feeling of, I want you to tell me what you think about it. Yes, I must admit, sometimes they come up with things I don't like. Honestly, I'm like, this is like when you tell your kids, where do you want to go? And they're like, we want to go to McDonald's. We're like, okay, so where do you want to go? You try and skip. But I like the conversation and I listen. Maybe sometimes I'll agree with it, maybe sometimes not. But it's a nice feeling of them that they have the choice also to choose what they want to do. And when I run or when I'm, doing something, it's like the game, like the football game. You know how the coach was so with the team? That's what we have to be. You know how the coach who was also in the Saudi team, how he was telling them, and that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to feel like fire, but a good fire that burns you with passion. Because if you don't have that fire that burns you with passion, you can do it. You can go work and go home. Go work and go home. And people will be like, there's nothing wrong with that. I get a salary at the end of the month. That's your thing. But if you want to do something that ignites you, that's not going to work. You're going to feel bored after a while. And to do that, that's why people with establishments and jobs need to make the place feel that there is potential, there is stuff that can be done, there's new ideas. And that's something that you need to even get the board to keep on saying. Let's meet up, not only to talk about problems, but to talk about successes and to talk about things that have not been done anywhere else. And that's what the team does. They come with ideas. I'm like, I want to hear something new. They're like, I'm like, I've heard that before. But that's going to be difficult. I want difficult. Because when you succeed in difficult, it tastes so much better than the norm. The norm is normal. Okay, I'm happy. And then, we heard about happiness this morning. It's moments. But what if this happiness goes on and you're mindful about it? So we have the 3S method: seen, safe, and support. I see you. I see your work. I believe in you. I like it. It's really good. I'm mindful with what you're doing. Please go on. But you know what? Maybe we need to do this, that, and the other. You're safe. We're together. Anything happens to you, we're one. Not anything happens to you, ma'as-salama, bye-bye, let's go to the other side, let's just ignore. Let him fix his own issues. We're together. Because that's how people will feel that this establishment is a very strong one, because they work together and they feel belonged. Support. Of course, in our clinic, our job is a bit different from others. We see a lot of clients, we see a lot of issues, a lot of patients, and people sometimes will say, I'm sure we don't have the same issues as people have abroad. We have the same issues, exactly the same issues. We might have been very clever in hiding it, but after a while, under the carpet, what happens? It becomes really thick, and then it burges out. We have the same issues. It's nothing to do with what country or what religion or where you're from. It's to do with you being human. And that's what you need to remember. It's not, because we're, as Arabs, maybe we're family-oriented more, That's a problem sometimes, by the way. It could be sometimes a problem. Not all the time, but sometimes. So let's think of it this way. Let's jump out of the normal. A lot of time when people come and ask me about mental health, is it a taboo? I know the questions. Is it a taboo? Is there a challenge? Is it the evil eye? This evil eye is like the magic one. This one, I always tell people, is it a bus stop? We have to stop at the evil eye stop. And then let's move on. Now, okay, khalas, it's not that, ya khasara. I actually feel it's not, they think that way, because when you feel it's the evil eye, you don't have to work on yourself, because it's not your fault. Somebody ihsid you because you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're so clever, mashallah, everybody is so clever, so beautiful, so amazing. Then it's not my problem. But when it's mental health, you have to work on yourself. And that's very hard. As much as we talk about it, but it's not easy. It's not easy to have OCD and work on yourself. It's not easy to have depression and work on yourself, or anxiety, or PTSD, or being abused or raped, and all those things that we deal with. It is not easy. But you have to fight for yourself. Because even if you're with the most amazing mental health or psychologist or psychiatrist, or whatever new things that's happening out there that have nothing to do with mental health at all, you will not be able to be okay. You need to push yourself, and we're there with you. This is my team. So my team used to have one guy first, Dr. Hassan, and we used to call him James Bond. For some reason, psychologists are always all women, but I know the reason. It's because you know the reason. Can any woman say why, do you think? I think we have patience to listen a bit more. Yeah? Men are like, Yallah. We're good. We're all good together. But basically, why I wanted to show you the diversity in my team. It's a big strength to have diversity, because in the real world, we are not just one. We are humans, different types, different colors, different religions, and that's how we learn. I'm really happy to be here today, and I'm happy to be in this lovely, colorful, vibrant place. I feel I belong as well here today, and thank you for making me feel that way. And if you want to go and play with your cousins' football, you go for it. As Saadita said earlier, you wear that t-shirt, you sweat, and you get hit in your tummy, but you know what? You did it. So, and if you feel at any time that you're not doing okay, please remember you're not alone. Lots of people are going through it too. Please seek help. Change always, always begins with you. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.